The X-Files Season 11 is a strange season, not because of the episodes, but because it came out after Season 10, the revival season, which was panned by critics and fans alike. My Struggle Part 2, the season finale, left a sour taste in my mouth. Chris Carter didn't know if the show was going to be picked up for a new season, so leaving his audience with a cliffhanger ending was kind of a dick move. Nonetheless, Duchovny and Anderson were both willing to reprise the roles, and Fox gave Carter the green light to continue with the revival. Season 11 surprisingly wasn't that bad. Whether it was intentional or not, the creative minds seem to have taken this season in a new direction. Regardless of the roller coaster in quality within the episodes, the season is very much thematically tied together. You see, within the context of the original X-Files, Fox Mulder has always been in search of one truth. Sure, he's uncovered various layers to it, and his slew of informants have led him towards the right direction, telling him that the truth has always been bigger than he imagined. But it has always been one objective truth, which is that a shadow government by the name of the Syndicate has forged an unwilling alliance with an alien race to prepare for the colonization of Earth, which Mulder's sister Samantha had been collateral damage of, and her disappearance had set Mulder on a path to find her. The reality that the Syndicate created was that UFOs were merely a hoax, things that could easily be disproven, but at the same time leaking misinformation to deceive conspiracy theorists along with the rest of the world.
The U.S. military saw a good thing in '47 when the Roswell story broke. The more we denied it, the more people believed it was true. Aliens had landed. They brought in college professors and congressmen and fed them enough bogus fact, enough fuzzy photos and eyewitness accounts that they believed it too.
But we aren't in the 90s anymore, and post 9/11 fears are still relevant. With the revival series, Chris Carter had to step into the 21st century. Season 10 was a rocky start. Season 11 felt more stable. Even though each episode in Season 11, aside from the two mythology episodes, tackled a different story, they were still tied by a similar theme. They were all about the manipulation of reality by powerful forces. That reality as we can perceive it is being altered in one form or another, and that this change isn't coming from one omnipotent force like the Syndicate in the original series, but from various other forces. With that in mind, I'm going to be analyzing each episode from the new season. The opening of the first episode, titled My Struggle Part 3, opens up with a monologue from the cigarette smoking man, giving a very vague recap of his life. One of the most important pieces of information was that he has been working behind the scenes within the government, and it's heavily implied that he has had some form of control over presidents and other world leaders throughout the years. He's most likely used this control to establish and continue deception on the American people along with the world. The episode goes on to reveal that the moon landing was a hoax and was actually filmed in a studio, which seemed to have been orchestrated by the cigarette smoking man. With this, it becomes abundantly clear that by creating this reality where man has landed on the moon, CSM has swayed public opinion and cemented the United States' place as a world power, making our collective history be based not on actual reality, but on truths that can be manufactured. This is why for CSM to succeed, he and his job have to remain a secret. This is the first example of someone creating a truth to alter reality in the minds of people in this season. The episode then picks up from the previous season finale where a virus has been unleashed throughout the world. We see in fact that this hasn't actually occurred, but it was a vision that Scully had while she was unconscious. She believes that this was sent to her by her son William, warning her of what is to come. We see this establishes that William is able to manipulate Scully's perception of reality within her own mind through their telekinetic connection. Thus, William is one of the main puppet masters in this season. In the second episode, titled This, Mulder and Scully are contacted by Langley, who informs them that his consciousness has been uploaded into a virtual heaven that was created by the NSA. He tells them that in this world, the Ramones play every night, he eats hot dogs and donuts, and sleeps with as many ladies as his heart desires. Everything seems perfect for him, so what's the problem? Well, for one, they don't feel the warmth from the sun, things feel fake, and they have been reduced to digital slaves, including the minds of Steve Jobs and Michael Crichton. In this world, they have no choice or free will. They're only as free as the program allows them to be. So what does that tell us about what it means to be alive? Well, it seems there needs to be some sort of struggle or challenge to overcome, something to aspire. To continue to live doesn't necessarily mean you're alive. The NSA has given them a mortal life, but have taken control of their reality. In the next episode, Plus One, we have a set of twins that can literally affect a person's reality by their written word. In their telekinetic game of Hangman, their targets can see their doppelgangers days before they are subsequently murdered by these versions of themselves. The will of the written words not only creates these illusions, but it also has a very definitive power over reality. The power to alter reality is held by these two telekinetic psychic twins who very much abuse of the power, and once their emotions get the better of them, they lose control. The episode very much seems to be saying that by controlling reality, they're very much losing their minds. Now with the episode, The Lost Art of the Forehead Sweat, is where there is a lot more to unpack. Mulder and Scully meet a man by the name of Dr. Day, who was part of a government program and had managed to change and reshape people's collective memories. This method became known as the Mandela effect. He argues that by controlling the past, you're essentially controlling the future. Not only that, but people choose to believe what they want to believe. That's why organizations like the Syndicate no longer hide their secrets, because people will just think it's fake news. The episode is very much telling you to not trust your memories. This is done by having a character introduced by the name of Reggie, who claims he had been Mulder and Scully's partner from the beginning. But now Dr. Day is trying to erase him from society and history. They very humorously green screen him into old episodes and even have Skinner remembering him. To try and prove his claims, Reggie points out a Twilight episode that Mulder loved and constantly rewatched as a child, and Scully's love for a Jell-O ripoff brand that she loved as a child. They both reaffirm their love for these products, but they recall being unable to find those things as adults, triggering their Mandela effects. As the episode ends, Mulder finds the episode and realizes it wasn't as good as he remembered, and Scully doesn't even touch the Jell-O, not wanting to tarnish her memory. Which is kind of interesting because you can read the ending as a meta commentary that maybe bringing back the series wasn't a good idea, and it was best to leave it in the past.
I want to remember how it all was.
The other reading I got from this is that we choose how we remember our past reality in our memories. When Mulder finally finds the tape, he realizes the reality of the situation, which is that the episode wasn't that good and it wasn't even from the Twilight Zone series. Scully then chooses to believe the reality where she remembers that her great value Jell-O is this amazing thing and opts not to face the reality where it might not be good. This episode shows us that memories are a very powerful thing, but at the same time are very vulnerable to suggestion. We can choose to remember memories not as they were, but how we want them to be. I'm gonna skip Ghoulie for now and jump into Kitten. This episode focuses on Walter Skinner. We hadn't really had a Skinner focused episode since season 6, so it was a nice change of pace. This episode focuses on the government's attempts at controlling people's minds. Skinner's platoon during the Vietnam War is escorting a crate labeled MK Naomi, and after a confrontation with the enemy, the crate is damaged and Kitten, a fellow Marine, is exposed to the green gas inside. This causes Kitten to have a violent fit, shooting at innocent Vietnamese people, but we see from his perspective that he thinks that the reality is that the people are straight up monsters. In the episode, the military is trying to create killing machines by developing a gas that turns their fear into aggression. Of course, this doesn't turn out to be perfect. It seems like the gas makes them be scared out of their minds. Like in the case of Kitten, who sees these monsters and naturally chooses to believe that this is what is happening and fights back. In the next episode, which title I'm just going to put on the screen, it very much deals with the same topic as the episode This, which continues with the theme of man versus machine. In this one though, it depicts machines taking on a level of artificial intelligence. The episode essentially takes place when Mulder refuses to leave a tip for an automated restaurant that he and Scully had dinner in. It reflects our dependency on technology, not only because it's an automated restaurant, but during their day both Mulder and Scully entertain themselves by looking at their phones, and later on Scully uses one of those mini vacuum things. But then this technology very much acts as a collective consciousness after Mulder refuses to leave the tip and they begin to attack them. It's not an onslaught, but it's very much an attack of inconveniences. Mulder's GPS stops working and it keeps redirecting him to the restaurant. Scully's music that she's playing grows louder. Mulder is chased by drones. Scully's harassed by her automated Uber car. I'm kind of laughing about it, but these things could probably occur. I mean, it's more likely that my laptop leaks out my DMs than for it to turn into a robot and kill me. The episode gives us a glimpse of what could happen if machines are in charge of our reality. They will bend us to their will until we give in. Then we have one of the best episodes of the X-Files called Familiar. This very much follows the idea of +1, where the people who are being murdered are seeing things, but now instead of being petty criminals, the victims are young children. We see that they are killed by this horrifying children's TV show character named Mr. Chuckleteeth. This episode offers us a commentary not only about questioning whether certain children programming is appropriate for children, but whether these TV programs can be used as means to brainwash their young viewers. The episode focuses on these two kids who aren't afraid of Mr. Chuckleteeth's nefarious appearance. In fact, they sing along with the song, and one of them even has a plush toy of him that he holds with care. So when they see him in real life, they don't question his presence, instead they trust it. Within the context of their lives, he's a fun and comforting cartoon character, so they're easily lured away by Mr. Chuckleteeth from the safety of their parents, believing that the reality was that they were seeing their favorite character. The truth is, though, this form is being used by a demonic force that was summoned using witchcraft by someone who couldn't control it to deceive and kill these kids. In the next episode, Nothing Lasts Forever, we once again go back to the themes presented in this. This time, it deals with the idea of immortality, while in the second episode, it deals with a more theoretical immortality, one fueled by programming and an artificial environment. In this episode, it's more of a literal immortality, as a man and a woman have managed to find a way to stay alive and still look young, despite having lived for more than 80 years, by harvesting and consuming human organs. They have built a cult around this idea that they can spread this onto people who have incurable diseases. Of course, the couple have deceived the people who follow them into believing that the same thing will happen to them, when the reality is that they want them as a backup supply for their organs. Now for Ghoulie and My Struggle Part 4, which focus on William, who is able to alter the reality around him. He uses his ability to play a trick on these two girls that he's dating, making each other believe that the other one is this horrid creature named Ghoulie. He then creates the illusion that he was dead after his adoptive parents were gunned down by government agents. In the final episode, he poses as Mulder, confronts CSM, who ends up shooting him, then is taken by surprise when he sees the real Mulder, who shoots him. William very much acts like an antagonistic force as he uses his reality-changing abilities. He gets these two girls to stab each other under false pretenses. He spooks truck drivers, he brutally murders the men who are coming after him by exploding them from the inside, and uses it to get away from Mulder and Scully. I'm not saying that he's a baddie, but the season seems to be preoccupied with the idea that if someone is able to manipulate reality in one form or another, then they usually have some nefarious purposes. A lot of people believe that Mulder and Scully were in some altered, augmented reality, kind of like the Matrix, that the aliens had already colonized the Earth and they placed the humans into some sort of simulation. Yet, I don't think that's the case. When I approach a piece of media, without sounding too pretentious, I try to look for a meaning between the lines. Usually that gives us more of a figurative interpretation and not a literal one. These episodes don't give us enough information or enough hints that Scully and Mulder are in some alien pod. What they do tell us is that the showrunners are very much pushing the theme of trust no one. It literally tells you not to trust everyday technology that we use, not to trust the government, people's appearances, yourself, or even your memories, because there could literally be something out there that is affecting your memory and even the reality that you're perceiving at this very moment. I think that's why this season worked so much better than the previous one, because of these standalone episodes. They were able to scare me in a way that the X-Files hasn't been able to scare me in a long time, and they were very reminiscent of episodes from seasons 1 through 4. It's a shame that Chris Carter sort of ran the series into the ground when it comes to the mythology episodes. And yeah, that's the end of that. I hope you guys liked this. If you guys have any feedback, please share it down below. I'm always looking for ways to improve my content. And please give a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.